ones that hate me the most look just like me. You tell me what that means. Make a slick comment and see what that brings. I seen it go down, we can reenact things. Extreme like BMXing. These boys pussy and they PMSing. People in the city see the movement occurring and say, my God, I wanna be in that scene. Damn right you wanna be in this scene. She had the video trying to be in this scene. Used to fantasize about being this scene. Bluegrass girl, but she got big dreams. Can't touch me, I got instincts. Locked in the house, but I'm plotting things. I brought a gang to the party with me. 5 white boys, but they not in sync. Fuck what y'all think. Fuck everything that you say about me. My dogs like to play Madden in 2K, but one thing they don't do is play about me. My homeboy Tyler, he playing South Beach. He told me this summer he gon' fix my jumper. I told Boy Wonder that we might got a thumper. I been trying to pop, now I'm on like Shumpert. Now they on my bumper. Green room chock full of all my comforts. Hotel room like heaven on earth. Got angels in my bed with some all white covers. Ace Pro Nemo, Lucci Kiso, Sloop Clay Tufo, and I got a few more I call my brothers. I got a lot of flows and they all like butter. Ooh. You know what that means. I came home nice, but I'm going back mean. I'm about to globe trot when they know a vaccine. Motherfuckers act lost, but they know exactly what's going on. Made a mill and I don't know what to blow it on. I tell a critic shut up like my show is on. Give a t-shirt to her, said throw it on. She want a mini high school classmates, I'm growing on. My peers ain't popping, they don't know what's going wrong. Y'all well dressed, but you ain't got soul and you just can't sew it on. I'm trying to tell y'all boys, I got a few songs I can sell y'all boys. I tried it back then, it was hell nah, boy. Now I'm in a box like a Kellogg's toy. The ones that hate me the most look just like me. You tell me what that means. Make a slick comment and see what that brings. I seen it go down, we can reenact things. Extreme like BMXing. These boys pussy and they PMSing. People in the city see the movement occurring and say, my God, I wanna be in that scene. Damn right you wanna be in this scene. She had the video trying to be in this scene. Used to fantasize about being this scene. Bluegrass girl, but she got big dreams. Can't touch me, I got instincts. Locked in the house, but I'm plotting things. I brought a gang to the party with me. 5 white boys, but they not in sync. They not in sync. No, they not. Word to JT, no they not. Word to JT, no they not. No they not. No they not. Turn off the lights. Let the moon shine through the blinds. I can see mine. Light a candle. You know that I'm trying to get behind. Press on your spine. Oh, you're looking damn good. I can't even lie. I'm mesmerized. It's in you, it's in your eyes. That's that shit I like. That's that shit I like. That's that shit I. Put your hair back. That's that shit I like. That's that shit I like. That's.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started for today. Hope y'all are doing great. Today we're gonna talk about accessibility. A couple things real quick. Announcements. The MVP is due next week. Who can tell me what is an MVP? Let me know in the chat. What is it? What do I mean by MVP? Let me know in the chat. What does an MVP mean? That's right, minimum viable product. And by that, I mean kind of the minimal set of features that you could have in order to play a game of putt-putt. So you should be able to play a basic game. It doesn't have to be full featured. You don't have to have all the features that you're going to eventually have, but you do need to be able to play like a basic game of putt-putt. One thing I want to emphasize with this MVP is that I will be looking at commits. So commits count. This is kind of a class that is focused on design for sure, but it is also a computer science class. So you need, excuse me, you need to commit code to your project. Now, some of you may say, hey, I don't know how to make Android apps. That's something I haven't done before. As I've said, Code Academy has a great tutorial for that. I think they may even have a trial, but for sure they have a 1-month membership. I think it's $40. There's no textbook for this class, so if you need to learn Android and how to program an Android, that's how I recommend doing it. Code Academy's Android tutorial. Everybody needs to commit to the project. If you're not committing to the project, you're going to end up getting some bad grades on the project. Make sure you commit to the project. The first time that's going to be tested is next Friday when you turn in that deliverable. Now, if you don't know how to program in Android, this is your week to learn. It's totally reasonable to spend this week doing the Android tutorials and things like that. Again, Code Academy is a good one, the one that I recommend, but there's many other ways to learn Android. So if you need to learn to program in Android, do it this week. It's not that hard. Android Studio is the development environment I would recommend. Do that this week so you can commit next week. And one final note is I would just encourage y'all to check your grades regularly. I'm putting out grades pretty regularly. Just check on them, make sure that there's no surprises. Of course, I don't have many errors. Me and my TA look at this stuff really closely, but occasionally there are problems. Do not contact me for very small grade quibbles, like if you thought, hey, I should have gotten like 1 point different here. That's not going to affect your final grade, and it's not going to do anything but irritate me, really. However, if there are legitimate mistakes, that's the kind of thing you're going to want to contact me for. And again, you contact me via Slack. That's the best way to do it. Slack is the best way to do it. And, I'm pretty good at responding to things on Slack. And there's a question about 2 questions. So is the grade based on your volume of commits or what's in the commits? It's based on both. I'll probably just take a quick look to see if your commits look legitimate and at the number of commits. And so it's based on quality and quantity. You will be setting up your own GitHub repos, and you will either make it public or you will invite me to it when you turn that in. All right, there's all the announcements for today. Now, one thing I like to do at this point in the semester is just hear a little bit about how the group project is going. I want to hear what types of challenges you're finding with your group project, whether it be with the actual project itself or with your group mates. And we're going to try and talk through ways of dealing with ones that I see in here. So I'd encourage you to get in these are anonymous. I don't, your group's not going to know who put these up. These are completely anonymous. So be honest about the things that you're seeing that are problematic. And so we can talk through them as a group, and we can try and fix these issues early on. If you fix these issues early on, then you'll be much happier throughout the semester. So I'm going to give you all a minute to get these in. I'll give y'all just another second to get these in because I want to make sure everybody has a chance to let me know what issues. All right, so making sure every member is committing a relatively same amount of work to the project. Two things I want to address with this issue. This is a common issue for sure. Two things. One, we are going to be looking at commits. So you are incentivized if you want your grade to be good, you should be committing to your project. And we will be measuring who commits to the project. So this will be graded. So you should start stepping it up if you've been a slacker and make sure you commit to your project. You can also, for those of you that are more focused on design, remember you can commit design documents to your project in GitHub as well, and that counts as a commit, of course. So make sure you commit and then update your design documents there if you want to get credit for that. But we're going to be measuring that kind of thing. The other thing is because I measure that kind of thing, like the level of commits that a person puts into the project, you have to recognize that some people are more or less invested in getting a good grade. Okay, and this is hard to talk about because we kind of assume that everybody wants to get an A, but that's just not the case. Some other people have stuff going on, and so I think you need to kind of calibrate your expectations. Like there'll be some people in the group that want to get A's and they're going to work hard and they're going to do commits, and that's going to be what they do. There are going to be some other people that just want to pass, and so they're going to do less commits, and they're going to contribute less. And if they want to get like a C or a D or maybe a B if they do an okay amount, it's okay. We don't need to just you don't need to spend all your energy hassling them to do more. What you need to do is focus on getting a good product the with the efforts of the group that you can get. This happens in the real world as well, right? Like when I was in a project, when I used to work for companies and stuff, there were different levels of commitment to the project. Some people had 10 projects going on, and the project I was working with them was just one of those 10, and you had to figure out, okay, how much is this person actually going to contribute to this project and adjust. And so it's okay for two reasons, because they're going to be graded down for having less commits, and that's kind of mimics real life. Okay, so it's something you got to deal with, but just know that this is a common factor. All right. People, I've seen this several times here. We have no clue how golf works or how to golf or lack of putt-putt golf experience. First of all, I have a hard time believing that you have never played mini golf. If there's anybody that has never played mini golf, please let me know in the chat because I really have a hard time believing that. Second of all, like, you don't actually need to know how golf works other than like you put a score for every hole, right? I mean, that's all you need to know. Third, some people have played Wii golf, which is basically going to be a similar experience. Third, people, like when you create an app, you need to find a customer and try and please that customer. So this is a common problem. Like you're making an app that's actually not something that you would use yourself. It's okay if maybe you don't play putt putt all the time. Find somebody that's into putt putt, or find a family that plays putt putt, or find a customer, and that will help you do a better job. So that's not really a legitimate problem. I mean, it is a legitimate problem, but it's something that you can solve in very common ways. Oops. So getting everyone to work on things early, again, that's a common problem with groups. That's just human nature. I don't know how we're going to get around that. I try and have lots of regular deliverables to help with that, but that's something you have to do a good job of motivating your people. That's part of management, basically. All right, everyone working on the project at the same time and pushing it into GitHub can get messed up. Okay, that is the real problem, but that is like a problem that you will encounter in the real world. That is something that you need to learn and to deal with. There's different ways you can deal with that. You can have people work on different parts of the project, like this page versus this page versus this page, or you can. I mean, that's probably the best way to do it. Just make sure you're not trying to work on the same part of the project. You can also use things like feature branches, but you know, I think that might be overkill for this. Couple more. So it's hard to make an app with a group completely virtual. If we could all meet up, it would be a lot easier. I would strongly recommend for you to meet your group at least one time in person. I'm not recommending that you do anything dangerous, like you should wear a mask, and you should socially distance. A good example of how to meet one time in person would be at the, that outdoor coffee shop in Monroe Park. You're outdoor, there's tables that you could kind of sit far enough away, meet once, just get to know each other a little bit. Maybe don't even have to talk too much about the project, talk about the project some, but just get to know each other like in person, just one time, for 30 minutes to an hour. And I think that will help you a whole lot. And you could even do some drawing work on paper there if you wanted to. So I strongly recommend you do that. Challenges are the fact that none of us still haven't learned anything about UI design, which is crucial to the outgrade. I don't know what you mean by outgrade, and I don't know how you haven't learned anything about UI design. So I don't know how to answer this one. If you haven't learned much about UI design, okay, I don't know how to answer that one. It's a weird comment. And I can see if there are any other ones that I want to comment on. All right. So that's what I wanted to talk about there. Now we're gonna have to move on. Today we're talking about accessibility. Okay, accessibility, and that's just making sure that your app or website or whatever is like usable by people with different disabilities. So here's what we're gonna do. I am going to, let me open up the VCU website. Oops. All right, I am going to open up the VCU website on a page where you can't see because you are going to pretend you're blind. And I'm going to, what is this thing? I'm going to open up the screen reading software. This software is...
Welcome to options.
Sorry about that. This software is what blind people would use to read their screen. And so what we're going to do is, using just a screen reader, y'all are going to try and navigate to find a VCU course on live coding. Okay, we're going to start at vcu.edu, and then y'all are going to try, and just using the audio that is played back and that you should be able to hear in just a minute, you're going to try and figure out how to navigate to a VCU course on live coding. Here we go.
Okay. Virginia Commonwealth University. Google Chrome. Virginia Commonwealth University. Clickable skip links menu. Complementary landmark link. Skip to content. Link. Skip to footer. Link. VCU branding bar. Link to www.vcu.edu/makehitrial/ table. Link to support.vcu.edu. out of table. List with 4 items. Take note. First Lady visiting VCU today. Watch at approximately 3 o'clock p.m. today as Jill Biden, ed.d. visits VCU Massey Cancer Center and delivers remarks at panel discussion on cancer disparities. Link. View live stream. A live stream of First Lady Jill Biden's visit to VCU. out of list. Banner. Landmark audience navigation landmark list with 8 items visited. Link. MIVCA. Link. Register for classes. Link. Current students. Link. Faculty and staff. Link. Parents and families. Link. Alumni. Link. Patients. Link. Community. out of list. Heading Level 1 visited link www.vcu.edu. Main navigation landmark.
Okay, so for those of you that are curious about what is going on, I have just opened the vcu.edu website and this is what is happening. So your job at every step is to, through the chat, to try and tell me what to do. Okay, I'm going to start again. And if anybody has any links that you want me to click, if you can figure out what a link is, then please tell me and I will do that. Here we go. Let me refresh the page.
Virginia Commonwealth University. Clickable skip links menu complimentary landmark link skip to content, link skip to footer, link VCU branding bar link to www.vcu.edu/makeitrial/ table link to support.vcu.edu out of table, list with 4 items take note. First Lady visiting VCU today. Watch at approximately 3 o'clock p.m. Today as Jill Biden, ed.d. visits VCU Massey Cancer Center and delivers remarks at panel discussion on cancer disparities. Link view live stream. A live stream of First Lady Jill Biden's visit to VCU out of list. Banner landmark audience navigation landmark list with 8 items visited link MIVCA link register for classes link current students link faculty and staff link parents and families link alumni link patients link community out of list. Heading Level 1 visited link www.vcu.edu. Main navigation landmark list clickable with 7 items. Collapsed sub-menu link academics. Collapsed sub-menu link admissions and aid. Collapsed sub-menu link life at VCU. Collapsed sub-menu link research. Collapsed sub-menu link arts. Collapsed sub-menu link athletics. First Lady visiting VCU
Okay, somebody
today.
has told me to click the link about the First Lady visit. I'm going to do that.
Watch view live stream. Watch live. First Lady Dr. Jill Biden visits VCU Massey Cancer Center. VCU Massey Cancer Center. Clickable top VCU branding bar region visited link Virginia Commonwealth University graphic Virginia Commonwealth University seal. Visited link Virginia Commonwealth University. Link make it real. Campaign for VCU graphic make it real. Campaign for VCU slogan, COVID-19, for information related to COVID-19, formerly referred to as novel coronavirus, visit link massey.vcu.edu/COVID-19. Heading Level 1 link VCU Massey Cancer Center. Search, edit search the site, submit search, button submit search, link give now, list with 4 items link Facebook, link Twitter, link YouTube, link Instagram out of list, clickable navigation landmark list with 6 items link patient care, link research, link education and training, link cancer facts, link.
All right, I agree we're in the wrong place now, so I'm going to go back to the main page. Let's see if y'all can get us at least one click closer to the answer. Remember, we are trying to find VCU courses on live coding. Here we go.
Watch at approximately 3 o'clock p.m. today as Jill Biden, ed.d. visits VCU Massey Cancer Center and delivers remarks at panel discussion on cancer disparities. Virginia Commonwealth University. Clickable list with 4 items visited link view live stream. A live stream of First Lady Jill Biden's visit to VCU out of list. Banner landmark audience navigation landmark list with 8 items visited link MIVCA link register for classes link current students link faculty and staff link parents and families link alumni link patients link community out of list. Heading Level 1 visited link www.vcu.edu. Main navigation landmark list clickable with 7 items. Collapsed sub-menu link academics. Collapsed sub-menu link admissions and aid. Collapsed sub-menu link life at VCU. Collapsed sub-menu link research.
All right,
Collapsed
somebody has
sub-menu link
suggested
arts. Collapsed
register for
sub-menu link
classes.
athletics. Collapsed
Not bad idea.
audience
clicking that.
navigation landmark list. Records, registration dates. Access the latest VCU COVID-19
Sorry about that. Here we go.
records and registration dates. Clickable top VCU branding bar region visited link Virginia Commonwealth University graphic Virginia Commonwealth University seal. Visited link Virginia Commonwealth University. Link make it real. Campaign for VCU graphic make it real. Campaign for VCU slogan. Link skip to main content. Link skip to navigation. Link skip to footer. Link access the latest VCU COVID-19 information and resources. Banner landmark heading level 1 link strategic enrollment management and student success. Heading level 2 link records and registration. Search landmark search for. Edit search. Navigation landmark primary navigation landmark menu item menu button collapsed sub menu records. Menu item link click to expand sub navigation. Menu item menu button
All right,
collapsed
somebody's
sub
saying
menu.
search.
Search for. Edit. Search.
What would you like
blank.
to search for? Let me know in the chat. What would you like to search for?
O-D-I-N-G.
I just typed in live coding and I'm hitting return.
Live coding. VCU search document. Edit required. Search query edit required Alt plus Q. Selected live coding.
All right, and let me shut this off because
Running app. Notify. NVDA. Exit. Discord.
right. Let me shut
Live
this off.
coding. Searching within rar.vc. 14. 14 running. Node. NVDA. Exit NVDA. Okay.
Okay, we finally exited it, and I want to show you guys and gals where we had made it. All right, here's where you had made it. You can see there's nothing related to live coding, and I'm not convinced that this is where we would have needed to go. But what I wanted to get you to feel is the pain of being a blind person on the internet. It is really rough, okay? But that's not the only accessibility issue that exists. That's probably just the most common. What other types of disabilities might affect your computer usage? Let me know, see if y'all can brainstorm what other types of disabilities might affect computer usage. Put them in Minty so everybody can see. Some good ones. All right, good. Arthritis, that's a good one because it's not super obvious, right? Like it would slow you down on typing and stuff, but it wouldn't totally stop you. But, you know, the efficiency of input is a big factor. Epilepsy obviously is a problem, can cause you to react. If you don't have hands, that can be really hard to do the actual typing. Color blindness can be a problem depending on how people design their sites. Dyslexia. Some good ones here. Deafness is the interesting one because it shouldn't hurt you that much in terms of using a computer, but there's definitely some things that you're going to miss out on. Carpal tunnel syndrome, absolutely, that's a good one. And basic vision impairment, that's one that affects a ton of people. Think about your parents and how big the font is on their phone. Vision impairment, even kind of normal vision impairment, is a big part of accessibility. All right, good answers. What do you think? All right, this is a little bit of a trick question. What do you think is the most common accessibility issue? There is one issue related to accessibility that is the most common accessibility issue that every website designs for. What do you think is the most common accessibility issue in modern life? And this is not necessarily due to a physical handicap. What do you think is the most common accessibility issue? This is a little bit of a trick question, so think hard. We're talking about the most common, like everybody's going to have to deal with this, or yeah, everybody that has used electronics has probably dealt with this. And every website these days, almost every website handles this issue. Take some guesses. Ooh, we're getting close here. We're getting real close here. This is definitely close. Think about this one right here and expound. This is also fairly close. These two are very close. Can you guys guess what is the most common accessibility issue? Aha! Mobile access. Okay, so an accessibility issue that was common a few years ago now is less common, although still an issue, is that a lot of websites were only accessible on the computer. This is something now that has been fixed. Almost all websites are accessible both on the phone and on the computer, but that is like the most common accessibility issue. And why is it an accessibility issue? Well, most of the world, billions of people don't necessarily have access to a computer. I mean, if you even think of kids or teenagers, a lot of them, they'll have a mobile phone, but they may not have their own computer because it's just, all of these things are expensive. They'll almost certainly have they'll have a mobile phone, smartphone, but they may not have their own computer. And so that's an accessibility issue. So I just wanted to bring that up because that's an important thing to realize, that this is the number one accessibility issue that affects the most people by far. And it's one that is kind of overlooked a lot of times. All right. Now, there are a lot of guidelines on how to make things more accessible. There are kind of academic guidelines. Here are some academic guidelines. For instance, provide text alternatives. What do you guys, from the exercise we just did with the speaking computer, the screen reader, what did you see as text alternatives, or not see, but what did you hear as text alternatives there? Let me know in the chat. What did you hear in terms of text alternative to existing items? What were they doing there that's related to this? Hello, hello. Is there anybody out there? Think you were hearing some text alternatives to what? True, true. That's a good point. There's another thing that perhaps wasn't clear. What happens when pictures are on the screen? The answer I'm looking for here is providing text alternatives for pictures. For instance, you might remember the Make It Real button, which was a picture. They have Make It Real campaign button or something read out as the text alternative. They had description of pictures. VCU's website is actually pretty accessible, even though it was a nightmare to hear. They follow a lot of the accessibility guidelines that make it feasible to use as a blind person. Whereas, some less well done websites don't follow those guidelines. So they have all their images with text alternatives so that a blind person can figure out what the heck's going on. Other kind of academic guidelines, making it so you can do everything via the keyboard. You don't have to use the mouse. You have enough time to do things. You don't cause seizures. You provide help for users to navigate. we have these kind of like general, I would call these almost like heuristics or principles, okay? We want to have things perceivable, openable, understandable, and robust. And then we have these subpoints under each of these kind of themes. So we have these academic kind of guidelines that we can use to make our site more accessible. And then there's also kind of very practical guidelines. And here's some practical guidelines from the Princeton's UX accessibility guidelines for Drupal sites. And they are, kind of a practical translation of some of those same concepts, like providing text alternatives, using headings to create structure so that when the site is being read, it makes sense. Providing strong color contrast so people, even with not great sight, can see and read your words, and not relying on color alone. So this is kind of a practical translation of this kind of academic set of guidelines. Okay, so I just want to give you a couple different ways to look at it. These are kind of the more heuristics or higher level principles, and then this is an example of very concrete things that a set of UI guidelines that somebody would give you when creating certain types of sites. Like VCU almost certainly has a similar thing like this for their website. Okay, so what I want you to do now is try and use your phone while blind. And what I mean by that is if you are using an Android phone, I want you to use TalkBack. If you're using an iPhone, I want you to use VoiceOver. These are things that are built into your phone. So just for instance, for Android, I go to settings and I search for TalkBack. And I can turn it on and take a tutorial. And I want you guys just to spend about 3 or 4 minutes trying to use your phone, take the tutorial, and then try and do something as simple as like adding an event to your calendar. Okay, so just take 2 to 4 minutes to do that. Hit one of these icons or hit me in the chat when you're done, just with these basics. Go. TalkBack in Android, VoiceOver in iPhone, go. All right. hopefully you've had a second to try that out. I'd encourage you to try that out. I'd encourage you to try that out on your own time a little more because it's really just fascinating to figure out how blind people can use the phone, and they can use it quite effectively, as well as the computer quite effectively. So that's just a little insight into how they will use it. Now, what I want to talk a little bit more about, or I want to get you guys to look into, is the Android app guidelines. So I'm going to be playing a video here just for a second, but at the same time, I want you to maybe just browse a little bit through these because we're going to have, especially the best practices here, because we're going to have a little quiz on these right after this video. So enjoy the video, but at the same time, feel free to be browsing these best practices because we're going to have just a little quiz after this. All right, check it out.
There are approximately 285 million people with visual impairments around the world. Making your app accessible not just opens it up to these users, but it has a potential to improve design for everyone. Most people are familiar with an accessibility service called TalkBack, which is a screen reader utility for people who are blind and visually impaired. With TalkBack, the user performs input via gestures such as swiping or dragging, or an external keyboard. The output is usually spoken feedback. There are two gesture input modes. The first one is touch exploration, where you drag your finger across the screen, and the second one is linear navigation, where you swipe left and right with your finger until you find the item of interest. Once you arrive to the item you're interested in, you double tap on it to activate. The primary way in which you can attach alternative text description for your UI elements to be spoken by TalkBack is by using an Android attribute called content description. If you don't provide content description for an image button, for example, the experience for a TalkBack user can be jarring.
Unlabeled button. Double tap to activate. Unlabeled button. Double tap to activate.
For decorative elements such as spacers and dividers, setting content description to null will tell TalkBack to ignore and not speak these elements. Make sure to not include control type or control state in your content description, words like buttons, selected, checked, etc., as Android natively does that for you. Android lint automatically show you which UI controls lack content descriptions. To keep TalkBack's spoken output tidy, you can arrange related content into groups by using focusable containers. When TalkBack encounters such a container, it will present the content as a single announcement. For more complex structures such as tables, you can assign focus to a container holding one piece of the structure, such as a single row. Grouping content both reduces the amount of swiping the user has to do while streamlining speech output. Here is an example of how ungrouped table content works.
Song details. Name. Hey Jude. Artists. The Beatles. Cost. $1.45.
And here's the same content with grouping applied.
Content grouping activity. Song details. Name. Hey Jude. Artists. The Beatles. Cost $1.45.
You should manually test your app with TalkBack and eyes closed to understand how a blind user may experience it. We also provide Accessibility Scanner as an app in Google Play. It suggests accessibility improvements automatically by looking at content labels, clickable items, contrast, and more. Vision impairments doesn't just refer to blindness. 65% of our population is farsighted, for example. With careful design, you can make sure that many of your visually impaired users can have a positive experience without having to rely on TalkBack. Begin by making sure that UI of your apps works with other accessibility settings, including increased font size and magnification. Keep your touch targets large, at least 48 by 48 dp. This makes them easier to distinguish and touch.
Provide adequate color contrast. The World Wide Web Consortium created color contrast accessibility guidelines to help. And to assist users with color deficiencies, use cues other than color to distinguish UI elements. For example, more descriptive instructional text. If you're using custom views or drawing your app window using OpenGL, you need to manually define accessibility metadata so that accessibility services can interpret your app properly. The easiest way to achieve this goal is to rely on the Explore by Touch helper class. With just a few methods, you can build a hierarchy of virtual views that are accessible to TalkBack. Making your app accessible doesn't just open it to new users. It helps to make the world a better place, one app at a time. To read more about developing and testing your apps for users with visual impairments, check out the links below.
All right, so hopefully you've gotten a little bit more insight into, not only is it blind people, but there's people that have lots of different types of vision impairment. And hopefully you've been looking at the guidelines that I have posted in the chat. And we are gonna have a little quiz slash, scavenger hunt for a few answers about accessibility. And I need to turn on that music, of course. Let's go for this one. Get in there. All right, there's about 40 of you on the 40 of you on the stream, 21 of you in the quiz, so I'll give you just a couple seconds. There's a question. Is this required for our app or is this just educational? I haven't decided whether I'm going to do a deliverable that is make it blind accessible, but probably. However, I wouldn't do that ahead of time. I would do that when that deliverable becomes due. All right. Just a few more seconds, and here we go. Right now, answer fast to get more points. How can I test my app's accessibility? Can I try to use it with my eyes closed? Can I create specific tests for accessibility? Can I use a scanner to check for problems? And that's right, you can do all of these things. So there's a huge variety of ways that you can check your app's accessibility. You have no excuse that that's really hard to do. There's lots of different ways to do it. The simplest is using it with your eyes closed, of course. Question 2 of 6. If text is smaller than 18.5, the contrast ratio should be 5.5 to 1, 5 to 1, 4.5 to 1, or 4 to 1. You might find this in the guidelines, or I think he even referenced it in the video. But this is an important one. Contrast affects everybody. What should the contrast ratio be if the text is smaller than 18 points? And it is 4.5 to 1. 4.5 to 1 according to the usability guidelines. That was a tough one, obviously. All right, question 3 of 6. What tag should you use to describe your content? These are small. Hopefully you can see those. Android content for reader, Android content description, Android content, or Android description. Hopefully you can read that. And that's right, content description. Android Content description. Good. Surprised you could read that. Question 4 of 6. What is the mode that allows users to touch parts of the screen and get feedback? So this is when you touch your app and it tells you what is under your finger. Is that the touch reader? Is that the feel it for real? Is that explore by touch? Or is that linear navigation? It is explore by touch. Remember, there are two modes, explore by touch and linear navigation, that the reader can go into. Explore by touch is where you touch to just hear what's under your finger. Question 5 of 6. What is the mode that allows you to swipe to navigate? This is the other mode in the screen reader. Is that called explore by touch, gestures, linear navigation, or navigator? This is a lot like tabbing on a regular computer. And that's right, most of you know this is linear navigation. Again, that is a lot like tabbing on your regular computer. Question 6 of 6. It all comes down to this. What is the focus order on a website? What is focus order on a website? Is it the order that you should look at things? Is it the tab ordering? Is it the order of heuristics to focus on first? Is it the order in which the page renders? And it is basically the tab ordering. It is the order in which the input will get the focus. Tab ordering is important to think about when you think about accessibility and keyboard navigation and things like that. And our winner for today is Yee, followed by T, Cole, Jackson, R.I.P. Daft Punk, Ashley, symbols that I can't read, Tyler, Phil, and Max. Great job, y'all. Thanks for playing. All right. Bonus info for those of you that attended class today. Using the screen reader is a good task to have on a test. All right, that's it for today. If you have any questions about the class or about the project or anything, put them in Menti right here. Otherwise, that's it for today. Hope y'all have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you on Friday.
Tell me what you really like. Baby, I can take my time. We don't ever have to fight. Just take it step by step. I can see it in
That blind navigation stuff is tough, for sure. But you wouldn't believe how efficient blind people are at it.
between your legs. You've been scared of love and what it did to you. You don't have to run. I know what you've been through. Just a simple touch and it can set you free. We don't have to rush when you're alone with me. I feel it coming. I feel it coming, baby.
All right, there's the question. How are we supposed to demonstrate using a screen reader on a test? Well, that's something for you to not know until it's time to take the test. I can't tell you ahead of time, basically.
Maybe this the perfect time. I'm just trying to get you home.
Somebody's asking, is the coloring from last time optional to turn in? I would recommend that you turn it in. So here's the way a lot of these seemingly optional things work. Something like that. I try and give you guys grades very fairly throughout the semester. And what happens is there's always some people that end up on the border between A's and B's and B's and C's and C's and D's. To break the tie between an A and a B or a B and a C, for instance, what I will often do is look back at some of these optional things like the coloring thing, and if I see that this person has been turning in these things, then I will bump them up to the next grade, and if I see that they haven't been turning in these things, I'll bump them down to the last grade, to the lower grade. So, you know, if you think you're going to end up on the border between A and B, B and C, or C and D, and you want to get bumped up, turn them in. If not, risk it.
You've been scared of love and what it did to you. You don't have to run. I know what you've been through. Just
All right, I think that's it for today. Y'all have a great day. See you on Friday.
we don't have to rush when you're